I'm Becky Bellini, one of the counselors here. I'm here with Christine Avila. Hi,
Hi.
Christine. And Cheryl Youngberg.
Hello.
Um, we're all counselors in the counseling department at Cal High, and we're here tonight to talk to rising seniors, so current juniors and their families, about what to expect for senior year classes, course registration, graduation requirements, and all of that kind of thing, but also to touch on what students might need to be doing or need to be preparing for to be ready for the next step. So whatever it is in their post-grad plans, whether it be four-year college, two-year college, trade school, et cetera. We'll go over all of that tonight, just to make sure that everyone knows what to expect in the coming months. The important thing to remember is, while this can be kind of like an overwhelming time, it's also an exciting time with lots of information. But we are here with the students every step of the way. So we're available all the time to answer questions as they come up, as people figure out what they want to do. So this is kind of like a high level overview, knowing that there's a lot of support along the way over the next year to make sure everyone's getting where they need to go. Okay, so I kind of talked about that. We're going to what to do to get ready for senior year. What are the choices, class choices for next year? What is your transcript? What should it look like? What kind of credits should you have? Might you still need? I'll talk a little bit about online registration. Thankfully, that has not changed over the last few years, so y'all are pretty much experts in that. And then also, like I mentioned, the career and college planning piece, how to use the tools that we have available at school, and just kind of what students should be thinking about at this stage of things. We like to introduce ourselves over and over in case students aren't sure where to go for help. So there's our alpha breakdown. We're all organized by student's last name, sometimes up to the first three letters, depending on the counselor. So find your last name in that alpha breakdown and you found your counselor. We also have additional support on campus for students. Miss Mullins, she's there in the orange shirt. You notice she doesn't have an assigned alpha. So she's there just for additional social emotional support for our students when they need it. Ms. Goldenberg isn't pictured, but she's our wellness center coordinator. She's a social worker who runs the wellness center. Again, just another person on campus for social emotional support for students. And then we also have Ms. Nichols, who also isn't pictured there, but she is our college and career center coordinator, and she truly is an expert in all things college, career, scholarship, military, all of the things that our students are thinking about doing after high school. She is such a great resource and is there full time with us every day in the counseling office, and is available to meet with students as well. Okay, so first things first, registering for classes. We came into the junior English classes yesterday and today. So if you were at school yesterday or today, you would have received from us an orange piece of paper that covers all of the course registration information. So every year students have to take English, right? There's 4 years required for high school graduation for English. The exciting thing for senior year is you have more choice. So you can choose a class that's more suited to like your interests when it comes to English. So you can see the courses listed there. We really recommend students and their families, if they're interested, look at the course catalog online because it gives a paragraph description of the type of material that a class will cover. Just Google SRBUSD course catalog. It's really the fastest way to find it. We have it linked on our website too, but Google's a pretty quick way to get there. You can read through all the course descriptions for obviously English, but also all of the classes that we offer. Seniors are also required to take Gov and Econ, so both classes are required. There are AP options for both of them. Students can choose to take one AP and one regular, two APs, two regular. It's really up to them. The important thing to note is that AP Gov and AP Econ are both year-long courses, meaning you'll be in the class fall and spring semester, whereas the regular is just one semester each. So if you go the AP route, it takes up more space in your schedule senior year. The other courses recommended, math and science. Most of our seniors will have met the minimum requirements for both graduation and college admissions by that point for these areas. But we do recommend students continue, especially on in math for the fourth year. And then obviously, if a student is thinking about studying a math or science major in college, it'd certainly be recommended to continue on in those subjects. Um, World language just depends on where students are in their study of world language and obviously what their plans are for after high school as well. And then we have, so many electives. I can't possibly go over all of them now, but on the back of the orange sheet that students should have with them, you'll see everything that's there. And so as seniors, you are now really able to take pretty much anything and have priority over the rest of the school to get seated in your classes. One thing that is really important to remember when you put your classes into Infinite Campus is to choose alternates. Um, Sometimes we just have more students want a class than we have seats in the class, and students won't always get their first choice. So it's really important to think about more than one option for English, for example, more than one or two options for your elective choices so that we know the full range of things that you're interested in so we can get you into classes that you want to take. Seniors also have the option of taking an unscheduled period, which just means you leave early every other day or come late every other day if you like. And your counselor will help you make sure that you are on track with credits to be able to do that, but it is a nice option for our seniors. We do like to mention non-district courses. These are courses that are taken online or maybe at DVC or Las Positas. This can be a nice option for students that want to take a class that we don't offer. But we do highly recommend students take all their classes with us. It is not an expectation from the colleges that students have taken classes off their high school campus. They really actually want to see that students have exhausted all of the opportunities on their own high school campus before going elsewhere. But of course, we know we don't offer everything, so it can be a nice option for that. But it is imperative that students let their counselor know what they're up to, because obviously our first job with seniors is to make sure that you graduate on time. And so if you're taking a class off campus that you need for graduation, we need to know that. And we are asking it be completed by the end of the first semester, so that if it didn't work out for whatever reason, we still have time to get you in the class with us and make sure you're walking across that stage on June 4th or whatever it is. There is a page on the district website that goes through all of the policies with non-district courses. We recommend you read that carefully. There's deadlines and forms and all types of things you need to do. So if that's an option you're exploring, please do your due diligence and read through the district policies about that. Okay, the online registration process has not changed. So it's actually even a little easier, I'd say, because we have the ClassLink portal now. So students, if you log into your ClassLink portal, you'll see your Infinite Campus tile. You click in there and follow the instructions for course registration. We will be emailing you out in like step-by-step instructions for course registration for you to put your choices into Infinite Campus. The portal will be open from the March 1st to March 8th. You print out a summary page, have your parent or guardian sign it, and that sign sheet is due to school by the 8th of March. I always like to mention that it doesn't matter if you put it in on the morning of March 1st or the afternoon of March 8th, your priority is the same. Infinite Campus just doesn't work like first come, first serve. So it is important you get your choices in there during that window, but you don't need to wake up early and get it done on the 1st. It won't change your chances or anything like that. We will review all of that with you in addition to your transcript. We do what we call the junior grad check in the spring with our juniors and make sure we're looking at your transcript, making sure you have all of the credits you need for graduation, that your senior plans are all good to go, and that all of the things you've chosen and have done are set up for whatever it is you think you might be doing right after high school. So if you think you're applying to four-year colleges, we'll make sure you have everything you need to be able to do that. And so those meetings are going to be happening the week of March 18th. And students, you know what this is like, but parents, if you're unfamiliar, we call students out of their history class, I believe, during that whole week, and we meet one-on-one with every single student. So as you're thinking about things, thinking about plans, whatever questions might come up for you tonight, 'cause sometimes I know with information, sometimes we just end up having more questions. So as you start thinking of questions you have, I really have been encouraging students to either open a note in their phone or, a page of their notebook and start writing questions down. And parents, you're welcome to add questions to that list too, because it's great if students come prepared for that one-on-one meeting with the questions that have come up for them over the course of the last few weeks. And then the registration is through the student portal only. I know we've had parents try to log in, and I don't think the parent account has access to do this part of what needs to be done. Okay. And sorry, Christine, one more thing. I meant to say this at the beginning, but my false start got me confused. There is a Q&A ability here in the meeting. We're gonna take questions at the end through the Q&A. So if questions come up for you while we give this info, if you could just try to hold them, because we'll try to kind of answer them all together at the end. There's a good chance we might go over what you're wondering about in the course of the presentation, because there is quite a bit that we cover.
All right, thank you. So kind of transitioning to credits and grades, definitely a piece that we go over in those junior grad checks, and making sure students are, one, on track for graduation, but also are set and ready to go for whatever their post-secondary plans are for after high school. So that could look a little different depending on what their plans are. So typically this is what we have for our high school graduation requirements in comparison to what the 4-year college requirements would be, what we also call our A through G requirements, which is mainly utilized by the UCs and the CSUs, but also, meets all of the other 4-year university requirements. So typically we're looking at, our requirements for social science. Typically we need the 15 credits of world history. So that's world history and world geo, our US history, our Gov Econ, while the college requirements is the 1 year of world history and the 1 year of US history. English, same across the board, 40 credits or 4 years. For math, we have 1 year of algebra or 10 credits, and then 1 year of general math. So that could be anything from geometry, personal finance, etc. While the colleges are looking for something more specific. So they're looking for algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, and a 4th year of math is recommended, especially for STEM majors. For science, it's the 1 year of life science and then 1 year of physical science. So typically for students, the life science is going to be biology, and the physical science might be chem or physics. But for colleges, they are looking for that 3rd year of a lab science. So that could be physics, that could be going into an AP version of the class, could be sports med. Any of our other science options could very likely meet that requirement. And then world language, fine art. This one tricks some of our kiddos more often. We have a certain categories for our electives that students must meet. And so they have to meet 2 of those 3 criteria. So that could be world language, fine art, or our vocational or applied art. So they can do a year of world language and a year of vocational art and be completely fine for graduation. But for colleges, they are looking for 2 years of the same language, so looking for a level 2 at a minimum, 3 years recommended for some schools, and then a year of fine art. So they are specifically looking for a fine art, not a vocational art. So something to make sure of for our students who are looking to go to a 4-year university directly. And then we have our elective requirements, so about 60 requirements for just high school graduation. So anything that is above and beyond our minimum graduation requirements, so that 3rd year of science, that 3rd year of math would be counted towards this elective credit group. For colleges, they are looking for just 1 additional year of an A through G approved elective. Again, that could be then their 4th year of math or science, or that 3rd year of a world language. For graduation requirements, also looking for 2 years of PE. That's not a college requirement. Same with health. We do require that for our freshmen typically, but not required for colleges. And then our acceptable grades. What's been really easy for students to remember is it's a D for diploma, C for college. And so typically, yes, for high school graduation, we need a D minus at a minimum for students to pass. But colleges are looking for a C minus or better. Okay. So students have access to their transcripts through Infinite Campus. We've shown them how to do this in most of our grade level presentations. So your students' transcript could look very, very similar to this. We at this point are primarily looking at their credit summary box to make sure that they have their credits. So typically it will show for each subject area category what they've attempted, what they've earned so far. As long as they've passed it, they will earn those credits. What's required for high school graduation and how many is remaining. So what we're looking for at the end of 11th grade is, most of that completion. At this point, students should have at least 140, 150 credits. And depending on what that looks like at the end of 11th grade, then they could be eligible for that unscheduled period during their senior year. So again, that electives category shows 50 credits of electives that aren't required because some of those may fall into, again, that second year of algebra is shown under the algebra category. So it doesn't automatically allot there. Okay. And then so any students who may be deficient in credits, if they are under that 140 mark at this point, we will want to have that conversation with them. We typically will have that conversation with them sometimes sooner than our one-on-one meetings. But that will be hopefully when we have information about summer school. We don't have all of that information quite yet from the district, but we do have a slide on that, I believe. So we'll be able to talk to them about either summer school, taking a 7th course in their senior year to make up that credit, or other credit recovery options. Here it is. So our district summer school is for students who need to remediate for graduation requirements, and they do have to have a D or an F in that class in order to qualify for summer school. It is going to be at Cal High this coming year, and we offer 2 sessions. So first session is going to count as 1 semester, and then second as a secondary semester. So depending on the course, if they failed first semester, they'll likely be in first session. Or if they failed second semester, then they'll likely be in second session, depending on the class. But these classes are all in person, 5 days a week from 8:30 to 1 p.m. So the max a student can take over summer is 2 semesters. A lot of the classes are through our Edgenuity online credit recovery program for after summer school. So in their senior year, this would be an option for them to make up additional credits. Of course, our summer school option is our first option, but this is an additional option. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be college prep. So these are non-college prep requirements. And so they're allowed to earn credits, but doesn't necessarily help to get them for their college admissions. And it also, we can't use these for remediating any Ds, just the Fs. Okay. So as we've kind of gone through with our students, we utilize Naviance as our college and career exploration platform. And so each year we kind of do different tasks or assessments with our students, but this becomes really, really necessary going into their senior year. But a bit of what Naviance has to offer is a lot of the self-discovery. We've done, the StrengthsFinder assessment, there's career interest surveys. We just did our personality assessments with our freshmen just the other week. So it's really great for them to be able to, 1, do these assessments and be able to see related careers based off of their results. They can also just do free exploration of these careers. They have a way to build their resumes, look for scholarships. They can also research colleges. And for once they're in senior year, we utilize Naviance a lot for our letters of recommendation. They can submit requests for their teachers. This is where their counselors also submit letters of recommendation if their colleges require them, as well as their transcripts. So all of that is done through our Naviance portal. We also have college visits that's organized by Ms. Nichols in the College and Career Center. And so those are majorly in the fall, but students have the opportunity to meet with college representatives that come onto our campus and oftentimes are the ones who review their applications. So a really great opportunity for students. And so the signups are also through Naviance. So a little bit of what that looks like. This is the home screen if they logged in. So they're able to choose their future path. And this does change based off of what they select. There's the self-discovery option there, careers and colleges for what they'd like to do some exploration on. The student has selected a couple career goals, which is great. And then we also have tasks from our school. So if there's anything that's assigned to your student, it would kind of fall under here. So again, some of those exploration tools, we have, the Supermatch, just be able to research and compare colleges. We have our scholarship lists. And then for seniors, this will populate once they're in senior year, but their letters of recommendation and how to manage their transcripts. So they're able to search for colleges by a lot of different criteria, which could include one, their major, different activities that they have on campus, the size and location of the school. So really comprehensive website. And then it then shows them, so if they're looking at a specific school specifically, they can see, the graduation rate, the acceptance rates for these schools. They have a great scattergram that allows students to see based off of other students that have gone through Cal High and applied to this school, whether or not they got in or not. And so it's really great resource for our students because it's data that we have that no other website online has available to them. So it's a really fantastic resource for us. This is what the scattergram looks like. So another student at Cal High applied to this school. It shows what their test scores were and what their GPAs were, and whether or not they got admitted, waitlisted, or denied. So a really great gauge for students to be able to see, potential likelihood for them to get into this school. It doesn't take into consideration the major that they're going into as well. So something to make note of, it does have limitations, but a really good kind of just ballpark. All right. And there's a college for everyone. So yeah, there are nearly 3,000 colleges in this country alone, and we have students who are looking for opportunities outside of the country as well. So we very much encourage our students to do that exploration piece. We want them to know what all of their options are, and be really thoughtful about, what it is that they're going to this college for. What are they looking for out of that experience? Are they wanting to be able to be in a big city and be able to find, internships that's going to be easily accessible to them? If they're going into agriculture, are they going to be able to be on a farm or anywhere nearby that's going to be, related to their major, or just what's going to be the most comfortable for them? Are they comfortable in cold weather? If not, then we might want to look at a different school outside of, some of our northern states. So we very much want to look for what's going to be the right fit for your student. Okay. And then, yes, so outside of that, it's not just the academic fit, but the social pieces as well. Do they have the extracurriculars they are looking for? But also the financial piece. We had a couple hiccups with the FAFSA this year with all the changes. And so we're hoping that by the time our students here are in their senior year, that all of those have been ironed out. But the cost of tuition is going up constantly. We need to take those types of things into consideration. Are we going to be applying for financial aid and scholarships? Are we taking into consideration travel expenses? How often do we want to have our kids fly back home and, come for the holidays? And is that within the budget? And so things that, are beyond just the tuition piece. All right. I'm a little winded, Becky.
Yes, thanks. We like to bring up some of these common college myths, and you can see what they are there. Really, what this is getting at is just really everything that Christine talked about already, is that it's so much more important focusing on a student's plans, where they will feel included and where they will feel happy. That is where they will be successful. So not all schools require a 4-point whatever. Actually, most colleges accept more than half of the students that applied. Right. So we talk a lot about students, you've heard us rant on about this a lot, students, I know, that we happen to have some of the most selective universities in the country, in the world, right here in the Bay Area, right? So we get this false sense of competition and how hard it is to get into college. Well, there are thousands of colleges, and most of them accept more than half of the people who apply. So there is a seat for every student in whatever post-grad plan they want. So that's really what we like to focus on. You don't need to take as many APs as possible. You don't need to take outside classes and summer advancement. Just because a college is really hard to get into doesn't make it the right school for you. It just means that a lot of people want to go there. That's really all it means, right? So, and for whatever, and everyone has their own reasons. So we really just like to bring down the temperature of these conversations, because we work with 700 or so seniors every year, getting them where they need to go, and you will get where you need to go. So we'll help you do that. And just because a college is highly selective and people out there feel it is prestigious does not mean it is the right school for every student. And so we really are big on the exploration, thinking about what you really want out of this experience, and finding the place that you're going to be happy, because that's where you will be successful. There's some research that we've come across. Again, this is just kind of the same thing that we were just kind of harping on there. Was, there's been studies that show that highly selective, expensive colleges don't actually have a statistical impact on the life outcomes of the people who go there. So if you go to a large public university versus a small, highly selective private university, your life outcomes aren't necessarily any different. So your life satisfaction is not dependent on attending a highly selective private university. It just really doesn't matter. And then this one as well. So the largest study ever of college graduates in U.S. history was measuring 5 key dimensions of well-being. So physical, sense of purpose, social, financial. I think that one's important to make sure that one's included, and community. And the researchers found that the prestige of a college you attended, quote, hardly mattered at all to their current well-being or work lives. So we just find a lot of students and families really stressing and really spending the 4 years in high school as a means to get to this place that they think is the only way forward. And we're just hearing more and more that just isn't the case, and that you can enjoy high school in its own right, and then you will get where you need to be when it's time to get there. Okay, so we went through this information and we really walked step by step through the college Supermatch program in Naviance with your students, I think in December. And so I've linked the presentation there. And actually, parents, I'm pretty sure I sent this out to you after we did that as well, but it's in here. We'll post the slides on our website where you can click this link and see the presentation that we gave your students. It just goes more in depth into the Supermatch and the tools that we have available to find those schools that maybe you haven't heard of before, but could maybe be the place your student is supposed to go. So that'll be posted on our website later this week. Okay, so we're going to talk about what the options are, right? I also want to point out on our website as well, we have posted, you can go ahead, Christine. I think 2 weeks ago, Kelly Falcone and I did a presentation for 9th and 10th grade parents. It was really like college 101. So like parents who felt they were really beginners when it came to getting your kids ready for college, what the college options are. So if we have parents listening who you're like, hey, I'm a beginner too, we have that presentation posted that just kind of goes over, again, what types of universities, what are the requirements. So we'll send that link out as well. We have, over the course of, Cheryl, I don't know how long the senior guide has been in the making, 20 years. We've been putting together, just as information changes every year, we update every year. We have a page on our website called the Senior Guide that goes over pretty much everything we're talking about now, the ins and outs of the college applications, the ins and outs of the Naviance steps. And so it's linked here. It's updated as soon as we get updates, we update that. And we always get emails at random times from students like, how many students are in our graduating class? Because the applications ask that for some reason. And we have that posted in the senior guide, right? So you don't have to wait for an email reply from us. There's a lot of information right there at your disposal, whatever time you might be working on your college applications. We have a suggested timeline here. This is a suggested timeline that is not, fully exhaustive. I think that parents and students really want to know, well, what should I be doing? What should I be doing now? And there is sometimes, I think, a false sense of being behind. And it is spring, it's winter, right? It's winter of junior year. You could not be behind. You just aren't. There hasn't been enough to do yet for you to be behind. So we'd like to just put this out here. Really for juniors, the most important thing that you can do is do as best in your classes as you can, right? Learn to be a good student, work with your teachers, get help if you need it, learning those how to be a good student skills, and just learning and doing as well as you can in your classes. That's your number one job as a student right now. Researching colleges, we want you doing that if you're thinking about going straight to a 4-year, and really thinking about, is that what I want to do, right? Because we haven't talked about community college. We will in a few slides. I also just like to say, we talk about 4-year college a lot, and it isn't because we think it's the best option. It's just the most complex option that requires a lot more on your part as a high school student than going to a community college or a trade school or what have you. So we talk about it just because there's more to say, but not because it's better for everybody. I like to just point that out. Thinking about schools you might want to apply to, kind of putting that list together, making a resume. So students, if you start thinking about like, what are the different activities that I've done over high school, maybe creating a Google Doc or something, just keeping track of that, because you do have to tell colleges what your activities have been. And sometimes students are like, what was that thing I did sophomore year? So starting to write those things down to just help yourself remember when the time comes. ACT and SAT, you might think about registering. I have a slide on that in a few. We'll talk about that as well. And then at the end of the school year, if you think you might need letters of recommendation, you could chat with your teachers at the end of junior year to see if they might be available for that in the fall of senior year. Talks about the summer. Remediate grades if needed. You can do virtual. There's tons of virtual college visits now. That's kind of one thing that COVID has gifted us, is more virtual opportunities. Again, curating that list, taking tests if needed, Getting a job, kind of maybe look at volunteering, finding some other things to spend your time on than just academics. And I like that last line: sleep, relax, read, and have some fun, your last high school summer. And then in the fall, I don't even want to talk about it because we're going to tell you when the time comes. So, we'll have nights like this. We meet with students in person. You will have all of the information needed, but there are no college applications even available to you yet. They open in the fall of your senior year. SAT and ACT, this is a moving target for us because schools are ever changing their policies when it comes to this. Many colleges, I'd say most, have adjusted their policies once COVID came around. If you are planning to apply to UC and CSU, so our California public schools, they are test blind. It means you could take the test if you want, but we are not going to look at it or consider it. So if those are the schools you're applying to and that's your full list, then you can save your money and stress and all the things and just skip the SAT, ACT. You don't need to take it. But if you are applying to some private or out-of-state schools, you want to, there's a link there. It shows all of the testing policies for all of the universities, so you can see what they're expecting and what they're requiring. Community colleges do not require these tests ever. So if you're going to a community college and you plan to transfer in 2 years, you will never need to take the SAT. Quickly, NCAA eligibility. So students, if you're hoping to play a Division I or II sport at your college, you want to follow the link there to the NCAA Eligibility Center. You just create an account and register with them. There are some slightly different requirements for classes you have to complete in high school for NCAA, depending on if it's Division I or II. So when you're meeting with your counselor next month, make sure you bring this up to him or her so we can give you the appropriate information regarding NCAA eligibility. Okay, so we've given you lots of information. And so I kind of covered a lot of the four-year college information. And then the next few slides go over all of the other options, of which there are many wonderful options for students that are outside the four-year college path. Obviously, community college, right? We have some of the best community colleges right here in our community. We're really lucky to have large community colleges with tons of offering, tons of programs that are not just do your 2 years of general ed and transfer, but are actually career preparatory programs that are all housed within the community colleges. Lots of vocational opportunities. Really, we could do a whole night just on this. It's obviously the best value. There's several free tuition opportunities for students, not even based on need. It doesn't matter the family's financial situation. Students are eligible for free tuition for our local community colleges. So it is such an excellent way to save money. It's a great place to explore majors. And like I said before, there's 18-month to 2-year programs where students are ready to start a good paying job in, say, construction or dental hygiene or culinary or whatever. There's tons of programs that we have available at our community colleges that are worth exploring. Another thing I really like to bring up is that DVC is the #1 feeder school to Berkeley, meaning that the most transfer students that go to Berkeley come from DVC. So sometimes students don't get into that #1 university they really want to go to. So they're like, I'm going to go to DVC and transfer there because that's where I really want to go. So it can be a really great option for that too. Oh, okay. There's something going on here. Okay, so I'm not going to play these videos, but I posted them in here because they're great. That just talks about training in the vocational schools and the different trades that are available, where again, students for a small commitment of time can be trained for high-paying jobs when they're done. I do like a little disclaimer on that bottom video though, because she says in there, all school counselors say that everyone needs to go to college. And like, you obviously know that we don't say that. So I like to put that out there. But other than that, I really like what she has to say about the trades. So again, if that's something you're interested in learning about, please click into these slides when we post them and you can watch those videos. But we also have, and I think on the next slide, Christine, yeah, we have a trade event actually on Thursday. It's at Doherty High School, where I know this is probably hard to see, but I think this has been emailed out to you, where representatives from a lot of different trades and training schools and vocational programs set up tables where students can come and learn more about going to their school for their post-grad education and like what a career would look like for them if they chose to do that. So it's a free event at Doherty from 3 to 6 on Thursday. So if that's something that you're thinking about exploring, this is the third year we're having it. Hopefully we'll have it again next year. So if you're not available this week, it's not too late for even seniors to go. There'll be a lot of seniors there that night. So just know that there's so many options for students after high school graduation. Obviously, too, military, going straight to the military or military academy, ROTC. I am not an expert on this by any stretch. Ms. Nichols, our college and career center coordinator, she's the source of all of our information for that. She works directly with recruiters who come and set up and talk to students at our school if they want to. We also administer the ASVAB, which is an exam for students who are thinking about going into the military. And that's going to be administered with Ms. Nichols at Cal High on March 15th. All students have to do is just stop by her office and let her know that they want to take that test. She thinks it's actually a good test for anybody to take because it can just be really kind of just informing about your own self and what you might be good at. Okay, I'm getting winded too, Christine. A few final thoughts. We always have parents asking like, well, what can I do? What should I be doing here? And these are just things that we've noticed in our research and in working with families that can be helpful. Trying to keep all of this information just private between you and just in your family, or at least having permission from your student before sharing. Sometimes students, it just adds to the pressure when they feel like everybody knows what's going on before they've made their decisions. We really like to encourage, we do as much as possible, a realistic range of schools. Keep in mind about the choices, focusing on that fit like we talked about. Keeping that college application list reasonable in length. We didn't really talk about this, but really in everything I've read, it's 12 applications. Is kind of the most. And we have students applying to many more than that. And it doesn't, ultimately, you're going to go to one college. And so more choice does not mean more happiness. It can actually be really stressful to make a choice after you've received a lot of acceptances, but then obviously also opens you up to more rejection. So it's also really expensive to apply to tons of schools. So keeping that list reasonable in length. Trying to help your child stay organized with tasks using a calendar and maybe a spreadsheet here or there. I think that this is probably what causes the most stress in this whole time with families, is students saying they're going to do it and all of the things. So, maybe a family calendar. You could also let us, the counselor know if you're struggling with that, and we can try to help. Let's see here. Communicate family values, support ethical approach. So really just, students, you're putting your best foot out there. You're doing your own work. You're being honest in your essays and all that kind of thing. And then obviously encourage fun and really focused and dedicated time for rest. We always get emails from kids in the middle of the night, and we know they're not getting enough sleep. And so if we could all do our best to try to encourage more sleep, I think we'd all be happier and a little less stressed. We do have a recommended book here, I think, on the next slide. Yeah, it's called The Truth About College Admission, a family guide in getting in and staying together. So again, it supports that kind of like lower temperature approach that we are really all about. Just approaching it with a positive attitude and hoping like excitement could be like the main emotion that we're working with instead of like fear and anxiety and stress. So that's a good read. Any books that you see that are like the secrets they don't want you to know, no. There are no secrets that anyone's trying to keep. We're all about making sure that all the information is out there for everybody to see. So we are wrapping up. We have some resources here. Again, I kind of already mentioned this. This talks about what Ms. Nichols can provide. She's just a really great resource to bounce ideas off of. Students are in her office all the time talking about colleges, and she brings like over 100 colleges to Cal High every fall, where students can interact with the reps from the schools and learn more information. And then we always like to plug our wellness center with Ms. Goldenberg. So when students are feeling the stress of all of this, which is normal and natural and inevitable, there are places for them to go on campus to get support with that too, either with their counselor or with Ms. Goldenberg in the wellness center. So I think our last slide here is just Q&A. So Cheryl, I don't know if there's been like a lot of questions, or it doesn't really look like it. But anything that's come up a couple of times that we should address?
No, it's actually been very quiet in the Q&A, so I think that you guys did a really good job of covering a lot of information. I know it's super thorough, but if there are any questions, you can go ahead and pop it into the Q&A and we can answer them as they come in. We'll try and just do that for the next few minutes, possibly. And as we see here, I think that there's still some people that are adding into the presentation.
Oh.
But just so that you guys are aware, we will have this presentation up on our website. We will also have it up on our YouTube channel. Just give a couple of days for us to be able to do that. But yes, we will do that. One of the questions is, can you share about iQuest time commitment and how it's possible for fall athletes, for example?
Yeah, so iQuest is an internship class that we have on campus where students can apply, and they just meet with their teacher once a week on campus. And then I think it's about 5 hours a week of intern hours. Is that right? I think so. And it's absolutely possible for fall athletes. Sometimes students choose to do, 2 days a week at their internship, or they just do Saturdays even. So it's definitely workable around a student's other commitments as well.
Yeah, we do have a lot of student athletes who participate in it. And one of the great things too is about once you do start to get into your internship, the class actually only meets once a week. Once you're in your internship, then those other times during fifth or sixth period, whenever you're scheduled for iQuest, that time is available for students to be able to go to their internship. So they will have a little bit of time to do it during then. But yeah, the class does meet once a week once kids get going and into their internship. All right. How about Korean? Do you want to talk about that, Becky? We're
Yeah.
so excited about
I
it.
know, we're so excited. We're offering Korean for the first time next year. And we've already met with the organization who wanted to bring it, and the teacher who is going to be teaching it, and they're all just lovely and so excited about bringing this new language to our school. Um, as of now, it would just be level 1 for next year, potentially level 2, depending on if we have students who sign up who already have some experience with Korean. So as of now, it would just be probably just level 1, but maybe also level 2, just depending. And then if there's a student that has more experience than that, they could certainly be in the class, and I'm sure the teacher would be willing to work with them at their level as well. So we are so excited to bring this new language to our campus. It seems like it's going to be a really great class.
Awesome. Another question that we had, someone was asking about the recent research, if we have any research recently from Gallup, and that is certainly something that we can look into. I'm sure there is some out there. I know that there's lots of books and research that's coming out constantly about it. In regards to our YouTube channel, that is also on our website. You can click on that, but we will make sure that it's linked. Usually once you go to our counseling website, which you can access through the Cal High website, usually we have that right on the front page of our most recent presentation so that you can click on it and then hopefully bookmark it, because that's where we put all of our presentations throughout the school year. Another question is, kids cannot take 2 lab sciences together in 1 year, like AP Bio and Physics. That is correct. Students can only take 1 core science per year, and they may also take an elective science. On the back of the student's course selection sheets, it is noted with an asterisk what those elective sciences are. But essentially, yes, correct. The core sciences and the bio, the physics, the chemistry area, we do require only 1 per year. Due to space and allowing all of our students to have the opportunity to take those courses. All right, what's a reasonable time to wait for a counselor to respond to emails?
I think we do our best to do a 24-hour turnaround. I know I've certainly been guilty in the last week or two of it being longer for sure. As you can imagine, this time of year creates a lot of questions for students and families. And we've also been in classrooms all week, and we will be the rest of this week. So we're not always right at our desks to do email, frankly. So I think if you're not hearing back, you can certainly send another email. And honestly, students, if this is a student, it's asking what's the next step for the student. Just come to the counseling office. That's the very best thing for you to do. You can often just ask us your question right there in person. And sometimes that email got buried. And so there's nothing wrong with sending it again. But mostly students, just please come see us. We'd love to chat with you face to face.
Absolutely. It's never intentional, and we do have drop-in times anytime before and after school, during brunch and lunch. No appointment is needed during those breaks. So please come on in. A lot of times kids feel like, oh, the line's going to be long, but no, oftentimes you can get right in and talk to us. So please do that. All right. How would you recommend paring down course selections? I think that this particular student, this might be a good question to maybe answer during our individual meeting, but a lot of kids are just kind of wondering how to pare things down, taking classes, 7 classes next year, doing a course outside, and kind of creating that balance. If you want to speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really all about making choices, isn't it? Because chances are you do not have 7 or 8 classes that are required for either graduation or to be eligible for even, the most selective college. So it's really about making choices. How it is you want to spend your senior year, where you feel like there is areas you need to grow your transcript, et cetera. But this is a good reminder for all of us that you are going to have an individual meeting with your counselor. So you're going to put your courses into Infinite Campus as like the best rough draft that you can come up with right now between March 1st and March 8th. And then when you sit down with your counselor, you can talk about it, you can make changes. So really what you're putting in now is you're just doing, this is the best I've got right now, and we can change it when we sit down together during that week of March 18th.
Great. Can you speak a bit more about financial aid and scholarships, timing, and additional resources? I know that Becky talked about it earlier. Definitely, Ms. Nichols is a wonderful wealth of knowledge in regards to scholarships. I think that a lot of kids wonder, okay, well, maybe can I start applying for them now? Most of our scholarships are reserved for seniors who are in the process of applying. So a lot of times in that senior year, what happens is in the fall, they're applying to colleges, and in the spring, they're really kind of ramping up and starting to apply to those scholarships, because that is when they kind of come out and are due. So a lot of times it is one of those things where you kind of got to wait for that season to open. We do have a lot of different sites. It's also located in our senior guide. One that I actually have found to be pretty helpful, and I've liked it even for my own daughter, is Going Merry, which is GoingMerry.com. I think that's a great site. Essentially, there are a few other sites that we do recommend. We do not recommend any sites that ask for any sort of money or for you to pay any sort of membership fee. If that's the case, then please, kind of steer away from that. All of these sites that offer scholarships should be free and accessible to all of our students. The other thing is that we have a lot of local and regional scholarships that come through our office, and it's super important that our kids are familiar with that, because those are great opportunities for kids to earn some money. Those are things like our local Rotary Club, PTSA, or boosters, things like that, where they offer some great scholarships. And we advertise those as they come in. Ms. Nichols definitely puts it out there on Students Navient so that it's on their regular feed and they can see it. So another good reason to make sure that students are checking into Navients regularly. We found that that's a great place to put it, because our seniors are often on there anyway, making sure that things are good with their colleges. So please make sure that you're checking on that. And if you have any questions, Ms. Nichols is a great person to talk to as we're heading into that season for seniors. Let's see here.
Well, I'm just kind of scanning through. Some of the questions here are really like personal about your own situation. And so, because we are running out of time, we're almost at an hour. We can't give you a good generalized answer anyway. So it's best that you take those questions to your counselor, because he or she will know more specifically what you're asking about. We are giving the SAT in October. And can a student see another counselor who's available? Yes. Sometimes we might suggest you come back and talk to your counselor. Again, if there's more background information that they already know, and then you don't have to share all of it again with a new person, right? You almost always you're going to be able to find your counselor on a given day. If it's lunch or after school, come back. Someone's asking if we can send regular emails. We actually do send quarterly newsletters. So we're careful not to inundate with email, because I know, just being a parent in the district, a lot of emails come through and sometimes people just gloss over them after a certain point. So we send a quarterly newsletter with what's going on in counseling.
Absolutely. I think that there was just one here. I did kind of want to say there was one question here that said taking AP Econ and AP Gov in comparison to taking it at a community college, we strongly recommend that you take it with us. And I don't think that we can emphasize that enough. If it's a course that we offer on our campus, colleges like to see that. And we'll be totally honest, oftentimes one of the things that evaluators look at when we've talked to college reps as they've come onto our campus, that is one of the main questions that we ask them. How do you view when our students take outside courses or online classes and such? And not all of them always say, well, first we see if you offer it. And then, obviously we like to see students exhaust the option at the campus. So that's when Becky said earlier, if there's an area or a subject matter that you're really interested in that we do not offer, those are the kinds of classes that we would encourage you to take and kind of pursue outside. All right. Oh, the website that I recommended, it's called Going Merry. So GoingMerry.com. And I could just write it too.
Yeah. And we do actually send out in the beginning of the school year for seniors, we send out an invitation to all the seniors to sign up on that website. So one thing we haven't said that I would kind of like to end on, honestly, is students, check your email. Check your school email, please. There's tons of information we send out. Again, we really try to be cognizant of email, backlog. And so if you haven't checked your email like all school year or longer, we kind of suggest just select all, delete, and start fresh. Because if you kind of know you're not going to go back, and then get in the habit of checking it every few days, maybe Monday during tutorial at school, for example, would be a good time just to see what the updates are and make sure you're not missing anything. Especially when it comes time to your college applications, they do communicate things to you via email. It's the only way they have of getting a hold of you. So you don't want to miss important messages from your prospective colleges.
Right. It's just a good habit to get into. All right. I don't know if you guys are scanning them. I kind of am as well.
Yeah, it looks like there are some questions, about individual classes. Again, we really recommend that your students bring those questions to their counselor during their meeting. Let's see. I feel like we've kind of covered most things that we can cover on a general scale, I think, here tonight.
Yeah.
So we know that this was an hour long, and I've done this presentation, I think, 8 years, and this is the largest number of people we've ever had in attendance. So we really appreciate your time. And we hope this was helpful. We will post the link to this and also the slides. And so again, we're here to support you. That's our entire job. So we're happy to do it. So just come see us.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, we will be sending these slides out so you have access to all the links that are within this, as well as the YouTube link, so you can see a playback of this video since we did record this session. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thanks, everyone.